Hi folks, today I'm sharing a proof of concept applied on the Samsung mini component sound panel board from the model MM-Score ZJ5. We cannot do much with it as it uses a Sunny microprocessor model LC87F67C8A. The first step is to confirm the voltage that can be used for the driver of the VFD, and the driver that the sheet mentioned the value of the less 45 volts. We will use a value near of the less 24 and I delve a little deeper into how to obtain this value, as this step always raises a lot of the questions. First of all, I will like remind that the voltage source must always be independent. In the DC-DC converters I typically use, this is indicated by the letter S at the end of the reference, like B0524S. This is our setup to show how is possible the association of the converters DC-DC. I make analogy between the converters and the batteries, and the concept is the same if you apply to the power source, but don't forget the power source must be independent, because if you look to the batteries here present, the batteries are independent and the converters or the power source must also be independent. Now we have two batteries of the 9 volts in the associated in the serial. You can see the shunt between the plus and the minus of the second battery, and after we connect the negative of this association is 4.5 volts DC, and the negative go to the plus of the second battery. This means you have 9 plus 9, you have 18 volts, and after you have 4.5 associated with the battery. This means if I connect my multimeter probe to the plus of this set of the batteries and connect to the negative of the 9 volts, you can see you have almost 24 volts. Okay? I repeat, 23.70. This is one association. Now, I like you think instead two batteries here or two converters, you can replace these two converters by one converter. Okay, it's not this, is this. This is a converter, the plus 5 volts to 24 volts DC. This set of the two batteries is identical, okay? It's not exact the same value, but you can think like a converter DC-DC. Now, with the same association of the batteries, we will apply the probe of the negative voltage to the point where I connect the negative of this set here and the plus of the second battery. This means here in this point I will get 4.5 volts, and if I apply to the minus of the first battery, you will get less 19 volts. this happened because my reference point is this connection here, is the negative of this set of the batteries and the plus of this series of the batteries. This means this point here will be a negative voltage in relation to this point here, okay? I will get less 19 volts. And if I apply to the middle of the both batteries, we'll get near of the 9 volts negatives. Now I move the connection of this set of the batteries, the connection between the minus, and apply it to the negative of the first battery. Okay, we'll expect to get here 4.5 volts. I only change the point of the reference between the both sets of the batteries. I will get 9 volts and the second 19, and if I apply only to the second, I will get 9 volts also. Okay, and this point here 4.5. This is another association, okay? The GND reference is this point here connected to the GND of this set here, and I get two positive values related to this point here. Now I change the connections from the plus of this set here and apply the plus to the plus of the second battery. This means from this point here to this point here I have 19 volts. Okay? But from this point here to this point here, and don't forget this is my reference point from this set to this series of the batteries, and if I apply the negative to this point here, you get less 4.6 volts, because you consider this has a GND point, is positive with the positive of the second set, and if you consider this your point of the GND is my negative probe, and I apply the positive to the minus of this set here, and you see the value is less for 6 volts. Of course, if I go to this point here, I have less 19 volts also. The idea is always you have independent power source, batteries, converters DC-DC, but isolated. You can do it the association you need to polarize any VFD or anything you need. Of course, you need to worry about the values of the current, but this is not related with the association between the independent power source, independent converters DC-DC, or independent batteries. This is our setup to power up our panel with a set of the 3 batteries. These 3 batteries can represent independent power source or independent converters DC-DC. Here we have association of the three batteries to get 4.5 volts, and this will be responsible for the power up of the processor, will be the logic supply. Okay, this can be replaced by a converter DC-DC of the 5 volts to 5 volts DC, but an independent converter. Okay, here we have the power bank of the battery and represent the power up of the hour filament in the VFD. Can be replaced by a power source, independent power source of the 5 volts DC, or a converter DC-DC of the 5 volts, or you can use also a converter DC of the 5 volts DC to 3.3 volts. Don't forget, if you use a power source of the 5 volts or a converter DC-DC of the 5 to 5 volts, you need to apply 2 diodes in serial with the filament of the VFD. Here we have the association of the two batteries, which represent the converter DC-DC of the plus 24 volts or independent power source. Pay attention, this point here is connected to the GND point of our panel. Also is a GND or minus of this set of the batteries. And this enough to power up our panel. Switch on, and you have the message to welcome, and you can select the mode, the kind of the music, the FM. Where is the FM? Oh no, I am preset, auto, and so on. Okay. The important is with 3 independent power sources, don't matter if it is based in converters DC-DC or batteries or independent power source, you have conditions to power up the panel. After constructing the setup of the power up the system or the panel, we are ready to activate the panel. This is the button on, and you receive the message of the welcome and stay within the indicator of the band, and you can change the band. Press the button from select the band. Also, you can adjust up or down. You have the selection of the preset or automatic, manual. This is in mode automatic search. Auxiliary mode. Tuner. I think this is the FM memories. CD. Type of the music. P sound and off CD. switch off. You have this indicator coming from the wire power on indicator. I use a LED with a low current because this is pin coming direct from the processor. And you can see the blinking of the format of the hour. I cannot adjust the hour because it's only possible with a remote command by the infrared receptor present in the panel. Anyway, if you have the command, you can adjust the hour and you will be in present of the normal clock. About the connections I use, you can see all the panel is powered by the power bank, and this means I have 3 converters present in the breadboard. I have the converter less 24 volts DC, or in this case plus 24, but I connect the plus of the 24 volts to the GND of the converter of the 5 volts, the logic power. And also I have a converter from 5 volts to the 3.3 volts to power up the filament. This is a set of the 3 converters. All the converters as powered by the plus 5 volts of the power bank. Of course, I can use, for example, the 5 volts of the power bank to connect to the filament through 2 diodes, one N4004, and I suppress the converter 3.3 volts. But I think it's more easy to get the idea. All the 3 converters have the power of the plus 5 volts, and one get to the output 3.3 volts, the other 5 volts to the logic, to the processor, and the other plus 24 volts. But I connect the plus 24 volts to the 0 volts of the logic, and this means I stay in front of the less 24 volts, like explained in the battery sets. I forget make mention to the volume button, okay, to adjust the volume. One thing important, you have a wire or a pin in the connector with the name power sensor. You need apply a resistor, for example, of the 10K from the plus 5 volts logic to this pin to indicate the power source is working perfect. Okay?